Come to order at 5 o'clock. Let's do introductions.
Let's go. Morley Select Board.
Carrie Keenan, Select Board.
Dan Webster, Select Board.
Matt Maxwell, Town Administrator, start back.
Gary Byron, resident.
Dave Barlow, Treasurer. Thank you. Changes or additions to the agenda tonight. Number 12, other business. Dave Barlow has a updated budget report for you guys. Any public comment? Okay, it's up to you, guys. I don't mind. Whatever. Sweaty about it.
He doesn't have his glasses, so it won't take long.
First up is Prudential Committee vacancies. Fires.
Where are we at? Give us an update.
The most recent thing is we've sent out, the town has sent out a postcard from the select board asking for volunteers for the Prudential Committee,
And
giving them a deadline of July 30th to contact.
June 30th.
Couple of weeks.
Okay.
Heard anything?
So they've gone out and they're in people's hands.
As far as I know, yeah.
They should be ready.
Yeah.
Um,
you did it
Have
last
you heard anything on that, Deb? And so folks have until the 30th.
June 30th.
Okay. I'll let Dawn know.
Couple weeks,
Couple of weeks.
and then we can
Yep.
further discuss it and figure out steps we gotta take.
Right, hopefully you'll have some volunteers in the next meeting.
All right. Thank you.
Welcome.
Are you gonna make sure to add that as an agenda item in case if there are some, we can discuss it without having to wait the next meeting?
Yeah,
I think we're gonna keep this on our agenda
Until
indefinitely,
somebody,
indefinitely.
So next time, if nobody comes, wants to do it, we're gonna appoint somebody, is that how that? Or
So,
will we do,
so the vacancies that exist today is our responsibility to appoint. So that informational card that we sent out was essentially letting everybody know who would be eligible. And gave them a due date to communicate with Matt, their interest. And then we'll have to just see as a group how many there are or aren't. And then figure out from there what we want to do, if we want to do that privately, or if we want to just do it in a regular meeting. So I think for now, we'll just keep putting it on the agenda and keep getting report cards and figure out where we're at. Trying to move it along,
Yeah, I don't know. I know a few people on the list, but not a lot of them.
you know.
okay, next up is 218 Debelsky Road.
Excuse me, it's Martha. I just wanted to speak about the CFD.
Martha from the past.
From the way back.
Oh, that Martha.
Call me public comment, I'm fine with that.
Go for
Go ahead, Martha.
Okay, so first of all, I'd like to just state some things that I have personally seen and know, and being that the CFD was the original reason why I started engaging in the town politics. Which brings me back to the same thing I'm going to repeat I've said for about 7 years now. The town, meaning the select board, should hold a vote to dissolve the fire district and have the town take it over, as the town is already using the resource people and resources there. I would also like to point out that the USDA knew that when they gave out the grant, and the CFD has that in meeting minutes, that they knew there was no way that the fire district could uphold their obligation, and clean water was more important. The fire district has that on record. And I would also like to point out that if the select board holds the proper votes, which I have talked to several attorneys about, that the town has now bought properties and even shortened the list of customers that are on the CFD properties. So I can't give you exact numbers, as I've stepped down for the last couple of years dealing with family issues. But as a person who has listened to just about everybody in the village, and has put blood, sweat, and tears into that town and into that fire district, I just think that it's a big injustice for the voters of Coventry to not take over the fire district and do the right thing by the water district. And there's also legislation that will protect the town from incurring any debt that this merging or consolidating into would incur. So the town isn't incurring anything but better service and getting a say over the fire district. As how many properties does the town now own that doesn't get a say, including the school, the church, the building, the other building, the garage? Where else are we at? In a less than 35 connection system. So I just want to say Martha from the past is still standing on the thing I originally said. And I find it quite the disservice that this isn't happening. You're not going to find anybody to go and work with the fire. This is a huge contentious thing. And we all know this because we've all been dealing with it. Remember, Scott? I mean, this isn't nothing new. Like, and I'm sure you're rubbing your head and sick of hearing me. Same things. I'm sick of the same things. However, there is a way that would be a complete service, and it gives you, the select board, the proper control and the proper oversight, and it doesn't rake over the coals of the money that people already can't afford. Because let's just talk about how there hasn't been an election, but yet water rates have been raised, which I get, whether that's whether it is a legislative thing or not, that's unethical. People's water have been shut off without water policies. That's unethical. Y'all have a way that you can fix this and make this better and start functioning very well for our community and showing that Coventry can lead. We don't have to be just known as the million dollar poorest town, because the town's rich and the people are poor, and all we get is people's trash. I'm sick of hearing that. If anybody knows me, they know how I've put my soul into this town, getting people to come to the table and for there to be accountability. Let's start showing the village it's actually worth being the village that Amanda fought so hard to get legislatively designated as a village. And let's do the right thing by the villagers. That's all I'm asking you. Do the right thing. Consolidate that. You're never going to get it any other way.
So, thank you.
If things, you know how to find them.
I got one question for you before you leave us.
Go ahead.
Maybe I misheard what you said, or maybe I just don't know what I'm talking about. But the voting, what you're talking about on consolidating, it's my understanding that that's not a town vote, that's a water district vote. Just like it was when they entered into it.
Well, because the town has appointed so many times and they still have not had a functioning legislative body. And I mean, might be moving on 5 years here now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a functioning legislative body, and it's a body under you guys. So whether you want to admit it's a bad reflection on you or not, I'm sorry, it is. And when you don't have people that have a say and people just keep getting thrown stuff out, like, there's a way to do this, Scott. We've talked about this. And if you look at the back of the handbook where it tells you about fire districts, it says about the town not having to incur all their debt. And even if you did, you still have USDA on the hook. You have it in writing. I took them meeting minutes. I know, I made sure it was in there.
I know that stuff. We know that stuff, but the fire district, right, is the entity, the body, the people that live there are the people who are able to make those decisions. It's not the regular townspeople, and it's not the select board. Those folks, just like when they create a fire district, are the ones who need to choose to dissolve the fire district. So I get it. I understand all the frustrating points. I share them in many ways. We're taking steps today because it's come to the desk of the select board again. And all those issues that you just noted, but you know, step by step, I hear your frustration, but we're gonna get through this process of appointments, and then we're gonna continue a conversation, and hopefully we get people to come back to the table and talk about the things that we're all supposed to be talking about openly, publicly, and try to figure out what to do that's
So
best.
this is what I would say, Scott. You can't find a legislative body to hold an election, so how are you gonna hold a vote? You are asking for impossible things here. I understand what they are. I know there are 3 different ways to dissolve that fire district. I've had many conversations with many lawyers, many people on the state level. I've talked to USDA. I've talked to the head of USDA. Like, I have been in the trenches and I understand that there's 3 different ways to do that, where the legislative body votes to dissolve itself, which you can't get somebody to lead it, let alone hold an election. So you know, that's not going to work. So you're going to keep pandering and playing the same BS down the road, that here we are 5 years down the road. And I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, because it's just my frustration, and I apologize for the frustration, but I'm going to explain. So then that's one way to do it, which we already know isn't feasible because we can't find people to even serve on the committee, let alone have an election. So that's out of the question. And then we go to the next one, where you can merge, or the state can step in and a legislative statewide process can happen where the legislature changes that. But irregardless, if you can appoint somebody to their committee that leads another group, they are underneath of you. However you want to see that or not is fine. I've argued this with the lieutenant governor and the secretary of state and several House representatives. This goes back to the ethics bill and the ethics committee. That's not on your table. But let me just say, I've been in the trenches and I understand it. There are 3 separate ways. So if you want to keep pandering and wasting time and money and effort, go ahead, keep it, but you're doing the town a disservice. You guys own how many properties now? And don't have a say over this water district, but yet you keep playing the same thing. And Dominic's the only one that ever stays it out. And that's because, let's face it, he's military. He doesn't know how to say give up. That's not in Dominic's code. So again, I ask you to please do your research and do the right thing.
Hey, we're on it. Thank you, Martha.
Good to see you, Scott. Good to see you, Carrie.
You too, Mark.
Yeah. Proud of you guys. Keep up the good work.
Thanks, Martha.
Thanks, Martha.
Thank you.
Alright.
Okay, 218 Novelski Road.
Oops. Anticipating we had visitors on that today.
Yeah, I thought we would too. Maybe things are going better.
We got there's another email about,
Yeah, I think their main concern now is the noise. There's a generator pointed at people's property.
this may be a crazy question, but has anyone talked to them?
I think.
Have they tried to? It's not a place that you
They're
just,
afraid, I think they're,
He's
you
not
know,
a foot-
afraid of retribution. if
Yeah,
they
I think
go.
Bobby has it maybe in the past, but now
Mhm.
is it pointless to talk to them?
It's worth.
So I went up and spent about an hour this weekend. And I expected they were gonna be here today. They told me they were gonna be. So, I think we need to increase patrols.
Have we heard any more from the sheriff's department? They contacted you at all, Matt? Just a quick
No.
update.
Kind of got money for this year. So, I mean, they'll do more, but we have to pay them.
So where are we at with A&R?
As far as I know, they haven't sent an investigator yet, but they've.
Okay.
Do so.
Let's make that happen. Let's not wait. So make some phone calls tomorrow. If you need me to help with some phone calls, then let me know. But if that's an open issue, then we need to know the answer on that, especially when it potentially could become vacant real soon.
Mhm.
I think that's a pretty important issue that was brought to us based on the fire.
Mhm.
So we need to get that resolved.
You mean the property being vacant?
I think they're probably not gonna be there much longer, from what I'm hearing. All right, well,
And should maybe, so there's no more patrols, you said. I was gonna say maybe one of the,
No,
Deputy-
not, no, that's,
I mean,
not
yeah.
gonna do any patrols, but, you know,
so they've used all of fiscal 24 money.
we're pretty close to it, you can reallocate. If you want. I'll cover it in the budget report, but. You've got plenty of money to, in the budget authority, fiscal year 24 to allocate.
We've got enough.
Sure. I mean, it's not in the sheriff one,
No,
but
no.
you can as a board reallocate.
Okay, so, and we're not in any danger in doing that. We're
And
not
they-
gonna go broke.
They made it sound like that really helps.
You'll probably have about $1 million. Well, I have about $1 million in budget authority. But I wouldn't recommend that much, but.
Uh,
We get like a SWAT
But
team.
in the general fund right now.
they were just here.
Well over 100,000. Of extra budget authority.
So I have read the last two, have you guys looked at the detail sheet on the last two or 3 months of
The sheriff,
sheriffs?
I'm
About-
pretty sure.
And there's
I've
been
read
activity on like Webster Road and
Have you,
A little
yeah, so
bit
you've
in
seen that
Nichols,
detail,
yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
the River
River
Road,
Road.
and
Yeah.
not Maxwell Road,
Messier.
Messier. That whole area has, I
House
was
Road.
amazed.
I was, yeah.
At how many interactions that there has been, and so,
Some of those have been, side by sides.
oh yeah.
I've just seen them. I think they're everybody over.
Yeah. So let's, we did a special purpose $1,000, a few weeks ago or a month ago.
Yeah, in the May.
Let's do that again. How long does that didn't seem to go very long.
It buys us a couple weeks.
It's a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So let's do that
This will get us to July if I.
with targeted
Yeah, last
area,
time
not
it
the
was-
whole town, you know, so, did we do that last month? We did.
Yeah.
So if we said $1,000 in patrol coverage for River Road. And a. You know,
Bells, yeah.
Yeah.
Nabelski,
Yeah.
River Road and Nabelski,
They know now. I mean,
Oh, yeah, you know.
and you can clarify that with the sheriff's department, what we're looking for that money to be spent on.
Mhm.
You know, that area for full patrol.
Yep.
However, they will choose to do that. It's
Mm.
dangerous. We're hearing more and more. I got a call the other day from another neighbor down there. On the River Road, a
Mhm.
newer person who's concerned. A lot of people walking by, obviously, under the influence of who knows what, and, you know, they've got children, and I mean, it's sort of growing.
Mhm.
And so just for safety, you know,
Maybe they can ask them to relocate the generator on one of their trips.
I did.
Mention it.
They were thinking, they were probably gonna do that. So, I'll make a motion to expend $1,000 for Orange County Sheriff's Department targeted patrol for River Road and the Belsky Road area.
Second,
All in favor?
I,
Hancock Hill, gravel pit parcel.
did we hear back from,
Yeah, I talked with Joyce up Zurich a couple times. Her and her family would like a little bit more time to think about things. Before they enter into any kind of binding agreement, I guess. They've had a couple weeks, but I guess they've got some more stuff they want to discuss amongst themselves.
So where are you two on this?
I wish they would come. I wish we could go back to this, to the deed. When you drive up Hancock Hill, it's like this weird piece of land. It's like, why do they even have that? But then if you look at the map, it's part of the farm.
Yeah.
And so it just seems like they did this because town wanted the gravel.
Yeah.
And I mean, and they can still crop it.
Yeah.
So they didn't lose it.
Yeah.
They got some money. I don't know what the town paid, but they got some money out of it, must be.
Yeah, we purchased
bought it,
it
yeah.
back then. I don't know what the price was, but
So I kind of, and they're thinking of the ones coming up, keeping it. So I hate to see them lose it. I think they'd be making a big mistake if they just let it go, personally.
Wonder if there's a way to reword it so that the family can use it. And only the family, not rent it out. But I don't know if that's a legal nightmare. There's always loopholes and what ifs and.
So isn't this turned over to the lawyers, town lawyers?
So what did you hear?
no,
Because in the last meeting, you said that you were gonna send it off to the lawyer and everything to get the wording that's not understood properly.
so the town attorney is involved in the conversation and the knowledge base, but there's not any negotiations at an attorney level at this point. We've reached out to the Ospherics and told them that the town is seeing a problem. That with the deed, the way that the deed was drafted, which has resulted in the issues. And the deed is the deed, it is the deed. So there needs to be an agreement between both parties in order to potentially correct or rewrite the deed. You have to have two parties agreements to do that, and so that's the issue. You have to talk through it, and they've got to make agreements to essentially give up things that they have now. And a lot of people don't like to do that. And so Matt's done a great job and sensitively talking through the points and the issues and the concerns for the town and the concerns for the future. And the Ospherics are doing a good job and thinking about that and hearing what we're talking about and assessing for themselves whether or not, they want to. And so we haven't said by this date you shall or we will. We don't want to, do that. You can't unplant the corn. I suppose you could, but.
No, but you can stop him from spraying, can't you?
No. Nope.
thinking about that. No disrespect to you, but what if you didn't like hayfield? Would we be here if you didn't like the hayfield and wanted them to plant corn?
Didn't have a problem with hayfield.
I
I
know,
don't have a problem with corn. I have a problem with the chemicals that are being sprayed. That was a perfect organic field, man. Now Lawson came in and polluted it, as far as I'm concerned, with all the chemicals that he's dropping and dumping. And then when he came in and sprayed all his shit in that field to kill that grass,
Did I see that?
that was horrible, man. The smell and everything else that came along with it, man.
yeah,
And then Lawson's crews, they're not very respectful individuals. They're assholes. I'm sorry for the French, man, my French, but I deal with these guys on a daily basis, man.
yeah, it's unfortunate you don't get along with them, but. If you died, say, just theoretically speaking, someone else moved into your property. And now the previous farmer turns it back to hay and they don't get along with them. It's no different than you getting along with, not getting along with this guy. It just seems it's unfortunate for you not getting along with them, but can we just say that you can't crop it because,
Well, that's sort of the unfortunate outcome of this deal in the beginning, right? Everybody was trying to be nice. We talked about this earlier. And now we're stuck with what our forefathers bought for us, right? And you're stuck with it. That's legally what you got. And so that's not likely to just disappear if it doesn't get adjusted or changed. People that come after us are gonna have who knows what next problem, we'll be gone and they'll be gone and they'll all be all new people involved in the same, holding the same deed. And so one of the challenges for us all is to say, isn't there maybe potentially another way around this, that you can still crop these fields, but that, these deeds, that's so vague, right, that we've gotten where we are. And so for the town, it's a horrible deal. But that's the deal we got. That's the property we bought. There's other clauses in there that talk about the extraction of materials comes first and farming comes second. We could look at those remedies. That's probably not perfect way to treat others. Or we can do that middle ground, which is I think what we're striving to
Yeah.
do, which is say, where can we meet in the middle of this to clean this thing up? And to be more clear about what potentially I would expect, I think everybody would expect, was the spirit of the original agreement, which was your farmers, you own this property, we would like the material from it, better the town, but you could still utilize the crop hay then.
yeah,
But it was so vague that it's allowing for all these other unintended consequences. And so that's where you're at. If this board chooses to do nothing or make no changes, or the result of our conversations is that there is ultimately no change, there will be problems in the future.
and we're also waiting to hear back from observers to see what they're thinking.
Matt's been very communicative and properly so, I think, to hear from them and let them have enough time to think through it. And
I can give them a deadline if you guys want to.
I don't think we're there today.
push them and it's gonna be pushed back.
Right.
Hmm.
What are you thinking?
I'd like to rewrite it, but how do you rewrite it? You know? 5 pages long that says only you, I mean, the grantors and their heirs and assigns. Does that and assigns mean Lawson? And, or does it keep going and assigns the right to use?
The way it's written now, it goes forever and it goes to any assignment.
So if it's just that, you know, if you can make it and make it stick to that's just them that are using it for their own purpose. You know, for their own use, not for them to. Not for them to crop it and sell it, not for them to rent it out for somebody else to crop it. But that's a lawyer thing, if there's a way to even do that.
There is.
Cause like you said, they need the land and it's, you know, you want them to keep using the land if it helps them.
So let's let Matt keep on keeping on.
Okay.
See what they come back with before.
Alrighty. We have next wage and salary sheet. You have some way there?
Oh, boy.
It's a little writing.
It's nice, Matt. It's very nice.
Well, David did most of the work.
Thank you, David.
As tasked and directed by. And.
So I cannot read that, but I did look at it the other day and we had a couple tweaks,
Mhm.
whatever the tweaks were. What were
The recreation director position was 700, adjusted to 750,
they? Which is what it was supposed to be.
based on, yeah, based on a select board motion from February. The select board got, cost of living adjustments to theirs, all the raises that you guys gave out are in
Road
there.
crews and all that.
Yep, and yep, the justice of the peace are now $15 an hour as opposed to minimum wage. And that was approved, that came from Dan's budget, that was approved back in whenever we approved the budget.
So
January.
there hasn't been any, it's just an updated form.
This is the one you're approving, yeah.
Based on
Yeah.
decisions that we've
Yep,
made
yep.
previous. So hourly and salary, we fixed some of those things, right? Cause we're gonna be heading for certain salaries. Right?
Yep.
Did we get them all in there? Town clerk, town treasurer, whom we owe money to, right?
Oh, well, if you with the payroll, right, you wouldn't.
Good
But,
one. Yeah, those are all salaries. Clerks are hourly. Assessing clerk is salary, right? Didn't we do that?
Hourly.
Yeah, I think we made the decision or we discussed putting those all salary.
I weren't here for that one. But the
Yeah.
assessing clerk is hourly right now.
yeah, that one never came up as conversation somewhere.
Well, good right now. One other one have you got? Town administrator salary, so. Okay, so it's essentially your road guys are hourlies,
Mhm.
everybody else.
The JPs are hourly.
Yep. Yep, and stipends are good, so the only one that I can fuzzily see is the assessing clerk says hourly, and I think that one needs to go to salary. Just like all the others, and then I think you're clean. I can't read the numbers, but. And I think David's right, I don't think we had that for some reason in that original conversation. You guys seeing anything?
So her salary would be what the number is there that's budgeted,
Yeah, it's a,
not up to that amount,
I don't know what it is, but
11,695.
11,695, that sounds right. Yeah, for the year.
Mhm.
Yeah. You guys see anything else?
Mm-mm.
Dave, you see anything else?
This point.
Okay. Anybody opposed to making that adjustment? Salary,
No,
okay. I'll make a motion to adjust the assessing clerk's pay from hourly to salary.
second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Right. So with that, we just need to adopt this, Dave.
Yeah, I'm gonna sign it. Yeah,
I just, if you'll,
We need a motion on it.
well, all right, I can do it.
Yeah, I did.
Leave salary and then.
Yeah, I changed it on mine.
Yeah, whichever one you sign,
So if you've done it, noted it on yours
Yeah, I
already.
did it on here. Let me find your line for you, right there.
I can see it.
Izzy's holding it for you.
So I'll motion to approve the town of Coventry fiscal year 2025 wage and salary with the one exception as noted previously with the assessment clerk.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
very good, thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you.
All right, next up we have Catamount Asset Management. Dan and myself and Dave Marlowe met with John Henry about a month ago. Less than a month ago. Here in the first thing. You had some documents in your packet that were the result of that meeting.
This one?
No. Catamount Asset.
Good. Oh, no, that's the audit.
I had,
No, it's not here.
I saw it on email, I think.
Yeah, there should have been there, but here, there's. Right there. Dan, if you wanna go ahead, you can talk about what you thought about the meeting. I thought it was good.
yeah, I thought it went good. A lot of it is just like you take in too much for me anyway, but it seemed like there were some really horrible years. Even with those, it was like 6.5%, 7%. So. I don't know what else to say about it, but the board has some questions and,
Asked.
yeah, the contract, I don't know if he got back to you on that, but,
Well, that's.
he said he was gonna.
Yeah, one of those documents is sort of like a contract, I suppose.
it is, yeah.
It is, yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay,
That particular document, lots of words, typical of agreements with financial investment advisors.
okay, agreement,
The only real change is that we would pay him directly from the fund instead of separate action every quarter. It would be a quarterly fee taken out. Like check.
we talked about investing. Two different ones, like our, special funds, investing in special funds. But it was, we can't, it kind of depends on the budget. Was that how it went? We can't invest that money. Am I wrong on that one?
I'm not. I'm
We
not
talked
quite
about
ready yet.
investing some of the special funds. Am I crazy thinking
The
that?
reserve funds?
Maybe the reserve funds? No,
That are you?
I think we did, yeah.
Yeah.
We have that.
but it was, we couldn't invest them if we needed the money.
Yeah, my light bulb just came on.
Okay, I was thinking,
Did you see it?
was I there?
There. Yeah, it comes down to, we can't, of course, we have a bunch of cash tied up with reserve funds. And I think the question was, can that be part of the portfolio that he's investing?
Yep.
And the answer basically is no, because of there's two reasons. One, he invests the investment portfolio to a policy, an investment policy that is specific to the objectives for that investment portfolio, which is sort of continuous income at the end of whenever the landfill stops. So it's very long horizon, long-term kind of outlook. Whereas the cash that we have on reserve funds and general fund, because we always have quite a bit there, that's restricted by statute to what I can do with it as a treasurer, which is basically you can go into the bank, you can go into CDs at the bank, or it can actually go into money market funds that are huge, hosted by national level money managers, but it's kind of three things. Basically, it has to be constantly available to be able to get it, which would not be the case if it was in the town's investment portfolio. So it does need to remain separate from a statutory standpoint. That said, the town currently has a separate investment account at Fidelity under our investment advisor that's only for cash. You got $1 million plus in that, to $500,000 in CDs, and then $500,000 in money market, all of it at 5% or more. So that, I think, meets the statutory requirement and somewhat addresses the board's previous concern with lazy money, call it that. Money that's not. And I think we get at the lazy money issue of it at the next town meeting, when we specifically address each reserve fund and get those reshaped to where they probably need to be.
In thinking back to town meeting, we kind of touched on this at town meeting. And it seemed like most people, they didn't want us, they want to make sure that we had
Yeah.
some money, just in
But-
case.
I think if we present it as a right sizing initiative, right? Do we really need 600,000 in buildings and maintenance? Do
Yeah,
we really need whatever we got?
which what I was getting at with the budgeting part of it, maybe we just need to,
So we can
do a better job of that.
Each could be an article with a single page. Not even, it could just be a quick, here's where it is, here's what we think it should be. And there's probably some of them that could go away. Just a suggestion on my part. But it's a long answer to your question of kind of two separate channels there. Statutorily, we can't mix the really short-term money with very long-term money.
uh, Matt, you had asked about town officials,
Yep.
investing with them, like,
Mhm.
there was no issue there. Another thing he talked about was investing with, somebody else, a different,
Yeah, his business might be changing,
yeah,
right? Dave?
He seems to be sort of in the constant change mode, although nothing's actually changed.
Right.
something he had to do, it sounded like, if you,
Yeah,
so if you handle so much money,
He has to, he needs a certain type of insurance.
He's got all his overhead costs are changing.
Right, yeah.
He's
Yeah.
considering merging with another
That's,
larger
yeah,
firm. Which would potentially impact us from a who we're talking to standpoint,
and maybe not.
and maybe not. And I kind of lump that whole conversation into the, yeah, he's looking at different things, but again, nothing has
Yeah.
to date. Sort of changed. But is it going to change over time? Sure, it's going to. I mean,
Yeah.
we're in this for 20, 30, 40, 50 years of just having a landfill, never mind, after. So, yeah. there's gonna be some-
That's about all we got with it.
He did come back, part of the paperwork was a portfolio allocation as to percentages, which is basically the investment policy that I mentioned earlier. But how much is in stocks, and how much is in bonds, and how much is in alternative things like real estate investment. And all of it is index funds, basically the lowest cost kind of way to invest. All those things, a lot, everything. How much is in cash? He sent that back, and I called him today to verify that in fact it is identical to what we've been doing all along. The date, the performance is as advertised. He's hitting that 7.5% over time. That we need to hit, and that you expect to hit with this kind of portfolio. One that's reasonably conservative. Past the Smith test. Lots of other long-term investors use it and have used it for many years. It's as low cost as we can get it.
Very good, thanks, David.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah.
Dan?
Do we want to sign the contract, or do you want more time on that?
It's up to you, if you guys are comfortable signing it, then.
He didn't seem to be in a hurry.
He did not seem to be in a hurry, so I wasn't in a hurry either, but.
So you mentioned some things that will change.
Not on that,
I think only the way that he's paid.
Yeah.
The physical.
The way that he's paid, he's gonna,
Not the amount.
He won't write a
That's-
check anymore.
Okay, I remember talking about that too, yeah.
That was one of the things that, one of our things that we.
I wouldn't be ready to sign that tonight. I don't have my glasses.
Right.
I have glanced over it, but I want to read it.
Yeah.
It's pages long,
It is,
right?
yeah.
It's not.
7 pages.
So let me ask a couple of questions, and I'm always trying to find fault with something. So when are we gonna ask others to give us a quote? Just like auditing, just like all the things that we do. Is there an opportunity that we should be taking at some point? It's been, how many years have we been with Catamount? 7, 8? It's gotta be.
Well, it predates my time as treasurer, so,
Yeah,
or roughly the same, 2018 maybe.
yeah. It's gotta be 7 or 8 years now. So it's a big one, you know, that's probably the biggest thing that we do.
Mhm.
And so I'm always thinking about, you know, you don't wanna hear the same pitch year after year after year after year, not educate yourself and not let other professionals that are in the world's full of them, come in and meet with us and say, whatever their piece is on how they work with towns and municipalities.
Mhm.
Through an RFP process. Um, I personally think it's time to do that, not saying that we want to immediately to go away from this, but I've never felt real great about this anyway, you know that, Dave. And it's, I can't really put my finger on any particular thing, but I haven't tried either. But I don't like the communication. I've never liked the communication that we have. I don't like the documents that we get. I don't like some of the responses that we get. Or that I've seen. And so I'm just wondering why, I'm always the person that says, why is that? If I'm the client and I'm feeling something, that's what's most important. So I'm the client. And so if the person who's making the money and providing the service can't come in successfully and make the client understand and feel better about the process, then there's something wrong, whatever that is. And I don't know what it is, because like I said, I haven't scratched in there enough. That's why I stepped back from it this time and asked Dan and all of you guys to go in and do that, kind of report back to us so that I wasn't being me. Because I'm very uncomfortable with it, and I've not grown any more at ease over it. It just seems, you know, one of the examples that I used with Matt was Tyler. Last name
Billingsley.
Tyler Billingsley, right, our engineer. That guy is so professional. He comes in here anytime he's asked, he talks about everything, he educates us 100%. We have no doubts when we leave that office. What's going on, what's gonna happen, we get none of that from this guy. I just don't get it from this venture that we have here, so it makes me wonder, you know, I don't feel comfortable with it. And I'm not saying that because I think we're losing any money, I'm not saying we're doing anything wrong, I'm just saying I'm wondering if it's time for an RFP process, so new board members, new people to the game can, you know, hear from other people and sort of say, oh, wow, I really like that a lot better, or this a lot better, or this is better. And everything that we're doing is the way it should be. I think if we don't do that, we're probably doing ourselves a disservice, because we're sort of not looking out there, what's available in the world.
I'm not familiar what is normal
Right,
investment community, so I mean, what other people, I don't think there's any harm in seeing what other people do.
yeah. I mean, one of the pros, and David can talk about this a lot better than I can, but one of the real pros to this guy is that the fees are nearly non-existent, right? I mean, it's very, very, very inexpensive. But I think that's what you're getting, right? You kind of get what you pay for in life oftentimes.
How would you go about finding, I mean, you're gonna put it in the Newport Daily and the Chronicle, and if the town clerks, you're not gonna really get the people you wanna get.
No, like you have to get out of town, actually. It's, you know, you have to take your finance policy, your investment policy, and you have to have some conversation about that. You have to go through the RFP, and you can target that. VLCT has a list of firms, the state treasurer's office has a list of firms that are state and probably moving wide, that they, just like auditors, with investment firms that do this work for municipals and governments. And then you look at those and you send out some targeted letters to folks that you'd like to have some, see if they have interest in coming and talking to us about assuming a 13 or 14 million dollar portfolio. I'm sure you'd get some interest. And you just sort of go through that setup. Now, you definitely have to get out of town. You have to be very,
It's
very,
not just your towns, you're in investment.
you really don't want to do that because it kind of hamstrings you too, like, you know, in your policy, which is very intelligent, says, you know, that we officials can't be putting personal money in the same areas that this, so you know, you don't want to be in town, so you can't go use an investment firm in
Yeah.
Newport someday. Or be outside of the rules of your town work, so it's important to sort of get some distance and for a lot of different reasons other than that too.
Yeah.
So, a contract is a good first step. We don't have one, right?
Nope.
So for whatever reason, we've never had a contract. Again, it's like flag for me. It's like,
Well, no, we have. We've had, when he first came on board for the 3-year. There's that, 3-year contract.
okay,
Yeah, but that was, of course, 2021.
right,
Since then, it's just been.
yeah. So.
So we really don't need to sign this anytime soon, because how long is this for? Well, whatever, the contract, a year, 1-year contract.
Yeah, so let's put that back on the table for us
Yep.
next page.
Sounds good.
Next meeting gives us all time to read it, see if we wanna, you know, we can do both. We certainly shouldn't be without a contract, so we can do that. Or maybe adjust the dates if we wanna adjust the dates. But then have a better discussion on an RFP, and maybe you could get us some info on that.
Sure.
Between now and then, talk to the VLCT and potentially the treasurer's office and see. See what that looks like out there now. I haven't done it for so long.
Yeah, if I could, I kind of,
Go ahead.
just a question, the point, I guess. I agree that we hired kind of a bare bones investment service, basically.
Yeah.
He doesn't do any planning, it's just not, he doesn't do that kind of stuff, at least not
Right.
for municipalities, that's not what he does. But I sense that's what you're missing, Scott, is the, somebody that comes in and looks and says, you know, at the end of this, when the landfill shuts down, what is it you're looking to have? And what are you going to do? And then does all the number crunching and figure out, well, how much money should you be putting in every year? How much money should you already have?
Right.
Based on, there's a whole thing, it's there's a term for these folks, they're called actuaries. It's a little slice of math that deals with predicting the future based on what's going on, where you want to get to. And that's definitely not what we're paying for. And it's kind of a piece that you originally had on the plate to hire way back when, but we just haven't ever done it.
Yeah.
But those folks do exist.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm not advocating either keeping or going wholesale direction, but whatever we do next time, we should definitely have that actuary piece.
Yeah.
That then we know, with a little more assurance than we do now. Are we putting enough money in?
Right.
And if we're not, then how much should we be putting in?
I'm glad you said that because I'd kind of forgotten to talk about that. The last couple of times, but that was our plan. That was the original conversation piece that we had back when. Was that, well, essentially, originally, we wanted sort of 2 entities. We had just battled through hell with money and finances and all kinds of problems, so we wanted to be very, very, very clean, very, very, very conservative. And we wanted professional people. And you're gonna pay for that. But we wanted professional people, and the design was to have 2 entities. We wanted an investment firm who was gonna have tangibly dealing with your money. And then we wanted a fiduciary, somebody outside of that organization to be meeting with us quarterly, telling us they are doing a good job with your money, they're doing it right, here's why they're doing it, and be an educational, because we're always changing.
Yeah.
Treasurers are gonna change, and so you want that real professional in the room, other than the person who's holding your money, investing it, right? I mean.
Yeah.
the
So what, I mean, is that just
fiduciary
a
too, but,
financial advisor? Is that what you call that? Or is it more than that?
It's probably more than that,
It's an
but
actuary.
yeah,
That's
it's an actuary, and so.
Who isn't an investor? This person is not an investor?
They're typically separate,
Maybe it should be. In our case.
usually, yeah. And they're normally associated with insurance firms. 'Cause insurers don't want to predict the future. But they do work for, in the investment side as well.
Yeah.
I won't say that it's gonna be easy to find somebody that both does that and specializes or has knowledge of municipal
Right.
finance, but I would think they do exist.
So that's the perfect world, that's the conversation we were having back 7 or 8 years ago, to set that sort of a system up so that we just get fed education, dialogue monthly, and they were gonna get paid the fee. They were gonna get paid the fee, not the actual investment advisor who's paid from the funds.
Yeah.
It was a separate sort of thing, and it kind of got merged into, and I don't think there's been anything that's been done wrong, but I just think that we didn't get where we really wanted to get then. And here's a chance we just probably should do it. But let's see what you can get for us, Matt. Keep the conversation going and figure it out.
Will do. All right, next up is road crew, summer schedule.
Oh, yeah. Boy, they're tough.
They wore you down, didn't they?
They wore me down. I give up. So the road crew, we had that discussion quite a while ago now, months maybe, around a 10-hour,
Oh,
4-day, Monday through Thursday, 10 hours a day, essentially. And one of us was saying no, I can't remember who it was. Anyway. Cause I really don't like it. I think that there's some drawbacks to it. I worked a lot of different shifts in my life with a lot of different hours and. Anyway, Nathan, our road foreman, I think we all made some agreements a couple of meetings ago with the performance work that we did, that he's nailed it. The whole crew has essentially led by Nathan, and has just nailed everything that he's supposed to be doing. And he feels real strong on this, that he would like that crew to be Monday through Thursday, summer, right? It's not just summer, which they did last year. And so I asked Matt, figure out the ramifications to that, because our son, one is it's a 10-hour workday, so if you take a sick day or an annual leave day, you're losing 10 hours of leave, right? Not 8. The other piece of that is overtime, how overtime is calculated, which states instead of it being calculated on an 8-hour day, it's calculated on a 40-hour week.
Is that backwards?
Which is the way I've been doing it all along, a 40-hour week. I've never done it on a daily basis.
All right, perfect.
So, yeah, yeah.
they can work a 12-hour day and then they're
It's
not getting overtime.
I've always done it on a weekly basis. So that would be no change. But I didn't realize this was gonna come up, but there's always. There's just weirdness with going to those 4 to 10-hour days.
Yeah, there is,
I can't,
especially today.
I have to sit and look through it and say, what about? But I mean, we can work through it. We did last summer.
Yeah,
Was that the first time it was done last summer?
Yeah,
to my knowledge.
Mhm.
I
Or
believe so.
recently.
We've only recently gone to time cards that actually get turned in.
Hmm.
It was just, it was, I don't mean as a criticism, it was just a different system.
Yeah, different time.
Under the previous.
Yeah.
road crew.
So, that's what they. And I'm not gonna vote against that this time. I told Nathan, you've got my support. I'm with you until something really bad happens. If your guys are getting all your work done the way it's supposed to be getting done, like you have been getting it done, and things are going the way you've been managing it to date, then I'd be foolish, I suppose, to not support that. I don't know. Dave's have to iron out some legals, so he's good at that. He's a iron.
Yeah,
so-
it seems funny, you know, but maybe it's just because we're used to 5 hour day, Monday through Friday. But it's like you said, they get all the work done and they've been doing great. It's not too complicated with everything else, I guess, did it last year.
So the expectation to that would be obviously that it would, they're asking for Monday through Thursday with Friday off. Would be that, the road foreman is responsible for, if the tree's across the road, we're not gonna do on-call stuff, we're not gonna
Yeah,
go through that sort of situation, but he acknowledged that, which is, that you're, so if you're gonna be out of town, you've gotta be communicating effectively with John or the other guys that said, look, I'm gone, if there's an emergency, you gotta go cover me.
yeah.
Type of a situation on a Friday, or weekends, but.
And then there's just a date when this starts and when it ends.
Well, they want, do you remember the dates? It's certainly just summertime, so
Yeah,
it would be,
from now until about the end of September, probably.
well, it'd be now, because
Here,
we're here,
Mhm.
but in the future, and when we tweak the policy, we're gonna have to put that language and those dates in
like
there.
Memorial Day to
that
Labor Day or
policy.
something like that.
And quite frankly, I can't remember what it is, so.
Usually
Wow.
November first, winter season starts.
Yeah,
November
so-
1st.
So we could just say that we would approve the schedule change for today, and then we could work out the details. We have to put that policy back on this table anyway for a few tweaks, right?
Yep.
And that would be one of them, and you and Nathan can get those dates. I think it was like April 1st, May 1st, maybe it's May 1st, but I'm not gonna guess it. Can't do any dangerous snow for sure.
Right. June, September.
Work with Nathan and figure out that for the draft for us, and, I think that's the last real decision we have to make. Other than that, it's just some clarifying things in the policy. I'll put it back on the table here, and you put the numbers, the new salaries in there, right?
I'm thinking of one of the wackinesses of this, which is holidays.
Yeah, I was thinking about 4th of July on a Thursday. How's that work out? They're gonna-
That's pretty straightforward, probably, except for the board to realize that holidays are now worth 10 hours instead of 8 hours, or are they? Well, but a Friday holiday would be really problematic if they're not working on Fridays and it's a holiday. What do we do? Is it not a holiday?
VLCT. The VLCT is really the best resource for this, because they've got a lot of municipalities that have done it. So they've gotten drafts and they've worked through those little problems that we can't forecast on.
Well, that one I can, because it's come up.
Yeah. So can you figure, in this whole makeup, just get them to see if they've got a draft for us or something that you can get your hands on, but that'd be, I don't even know the answer to that.
Yeah, it's a weird one. It's like, what do you do? I don't know.
Because you may want to check the language too, depending on if it's in the policy, in order for them to get the holiday, if it lands on the Thursday, just designated that they have to work the day before and the day after in order to get that holiday.
Doesn't say.
Okay.
No.
I've seen that sometimes.
The only thing that is clarified in there is if it lands on a weekend.
Okay.
You know, Saturday to Friday, Monday to, or Sunday to Monday. So, yeah. And if we, you know, we can tweak too. So if you see things that we don't get in there,
Mhm.
just throw them right back at us and we'll just add them right in to the policy.
Just like I just did.
Yep.
Holidays.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Okay, so do we need to motion that or are we gonna leave it? So the other thing to talk about on that is, in the past, for the town of Coventry for eons, the road commissioner, you didn't have this conversation. It was the road commissioner's area and he dealt with all of the issues. We don't have a road commissioner, we have a road foreman. We've made a decision by not making a decision that the authority is here and that we're gonna make all these decisions. But we can change that, right? Going forward, we can talk about what authority levels you wanna give to the foreman. We don't have to have these discussions, but right now, it's probably a good idea for everybody involved.
Yeah.
That we educate us, we get the policies updated. And it's good communicating, you know, I think it's working out good.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting on the same page, so. I'll motion to adjust the highway road crew work schedule for 10-hour days, Monday through Thursday for the summer months, specifically to be determined at the following day.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Okay, active town grants. Have been there.
It's not you.
I don't know.
that was the grant guy.
Oh, Jeez, Matt.
All my glasses dropped.
You got readers? No, not if they're prescription.
Well,
Makes me
they're
nervous.
bifocals.
No, thanks.
So the cost share is our cost,
Yes.
like a cost match?
Yep.
No, not match, but. And so. These are the amounts given or the amounts remaining, or
That's the amount of
That-
the grant.
that's what we got?
And those are all, with one exception, I think are all reimbursable, meaning we have to pay it first.
Yeah, except for
Except for
that
the
$4,000 one, they already
They
gave it
just
to
gave it
us.
to us.
Mhm.
The other
That's
ones are all,
Most grants are
Oh, yeah, we've got to get that back on the table too.
what's that?
The $4,000, we've got to make some decisions on. where to
Right,
spend it.
yeah, it's already back on sitting here.
So that's money, yeah.
Yeah, it's here.
So the other ones, what did you just say, Dave?
They're reimbursable.
Meaning our money has to go up front. We pay the whole
We
thing,
pay for it, and then they give us, we send them receipts and they give us money.
which is not particularly onerous, except for Coventry Station Road repair.
Right, which I think we've got to pay for that one too, Coventry Station.
Well, the emergency one, yes. but-
Yeah, and the Webster Road, we got a check for it too, right, that
Yeah,
14.
Yeah, the little
The
ones.
little ones, yeah.
It's no big deal. It's the $1 million or
Yeah,
$900,000 Coventry Station Road.
Yeah.
One that, where we put the money up front and with some uncertain repayment date. Usually quickly, but
and one of the ones on there that says management costs, the bigger the two management costs, that one's gonna keep going up, because the amount of time that I put into it. So
I was just gonna ask that.
There's still more of that number will go up until Coventry Station's finished. That's just what it's at right now.
So who built this thing?
We do.
So, thank you. There's something there to look at now. And think about.
Those management costs, is that just your time? Is that what both of them
Yeah,
are?
that's my time. So they reimburse the town for when I'm working for FEMA, basically.
Cool.
Yeah.
You're not gonna like this question. David. Hate to ask you that. Nemrick. There's no special tool in there for this type of work.
Not specifically, but it doesn't really need to be.
So I'm thinking like,
I mean, it's all part of the normal process.
I was thinking about not having to cause you extra work if there's something that's already in there that can be utilized. And to see, I was kind of taking a cue from what you were talking about, which is to be able to gauge where you're at on things. This is just a total.
Well, but that information isn't even gonna, most of it won't be in Nemrick until we actually pay. It'll be invoiced.
Right.
And then, well.
So with the big one there, the 1.1 million,
Hmm.
that's how much we've been awarded. And then we paid already. We've already paid some.
We've paid Tyler
Right.
30,000 or
So
whatever.
we've already paid something now.
Mhm.
So is there a mechanism? Is there an easy way to be showing that? I'm just thinking Nemrick doesn't with the coding that we do, there's not an easy extraction.
No, that is
to
definitely.
Pull that down.
a Bit of a shortcoming with Nemrick. It's just not
I can't do that.
Is there a fast track in that software?
I don't think so.
You know what I mean,
Not
right?
one that
Yeah.
works.
Because QuickBooks you can,
Yeah.
because like that.
So you can just grab those codes.
Yeah.
And keep dumping them into,
It's classification.
Cause I wondered what had been already spent.
right,
Not really. Because of the. Yeah, I mean, let me dig into it a little bit more, just to make sure I'm that 1% of doubt in being consistent.
well, if it exists, it'd be a very good,
Yeah, in modern software tools, yes, it definitely exists.
yeah, and you just get a Nemrick report. Some special module or whatever in Nemrick and you just print it out. Because it would be programmed to,
Because otherwise,
Feed
you
it.
can manually, you could probably go through and create all those different expenses that you're gonna know in its own separate category. But it's gonna be separate than whatever expenses you're doing up above. And at least then you'd have your budget figure in there first, what you're gonna end up with in your figure. Then when we get expenses, as long as we know, when we get those expenses, that's specifically for this particular job, so it goes to this special line item.
and you don't have to do anything, I mean, it's done,
Yeah.
it's just an accounting feature.
Kind of, I mean, it's helpful, but when, I think it's Matt that goes in and pokes all that into the FEMA website.
I do, yeah.
He recreates. I mean, it'd be helpful to have it in both systems.
Yeah.
In our, I understand, I think I understand what you're talking about, what they're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a feature I use in my own software. For my own finances.
That's something,
But,
it's gotta exist in there.
yeah.
That's why
Dinosaur,
I'm only wondering, maybe they could have fast track in, that maybe it's just
Yeah.
not turned on or an availability.
Let me look at it. Just, that.
Or call,
But that would be obviously the only, like.
We
side
could call,
setting.
what's his name there? At Nemrick, no,
That actually would be, or their programmer. I mean, I know there's others in the hierarchy, but those are the two that actually would.
okay, I had another name,
That you want.
Chip is the guy I'd want to
Chip.
talk to, but. He would know.
yeah, Chip is the one I was thinking,
Network is very DOSI based, it's very old
Yeah,
based.
I know, that's why Dave likes
Yeah.
it.
QuickBooks, it would have been easy.
All right, well, just see if that's an easy one, you know what I'm talking about?
Kind of.
So you wouldn't get a piece of paper like this, it'd sort of come right out of your Nemrick, like your budgeting papers do, and it's already, if you're coding it in, like when Deb is coding those things in, it would just print right out for you. Yeah,
Well, it'd be a partial solution.
Yeah.
You'd still have.
So that's all of them right there, Matt.
It's all the ones that are active, yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 active grants. Awesome.
Did we apply for the fourth one? No, the
Which one?
DOREC,
I don't know. What's it for?
well, that one, you can do like stuff with recreational and stuff out. Or this, how builds. Like a walking path.
That sounds like a planning commission thing, doesn't it, Drew?
Sounds like it.
All right, well, thank you very much, Matt. That's,
Yep,
and
thanks.
David.
Okay. July meeting dates. Right now, the first and third would be July 1st and the 15th. Myself and Deb are both gone the week of the 15th.
I have my NEMSIA,
Uh-oh.
that's a mistake. I'm actually saving you money from being on the board.
I'm costing.
For that.
I'm going on vacation.
So that's not really vacation, I'm actually working, so I'm gonna be in Canada.
So, and it's fine, you can still have the meeting, I mean, I'd be here for the first, the one on the first, if you want to do that, but somebody else would just have to run this for the 15th, want to do that, or we could do the 8th and the 22nd of July.
I always say I don't care.
I say 8th and 22nd.
Coventry.
What was
always
the
comes
other one?
first.
The 15th?
First and 15th,
15th?
yeah,
Yeah, I think,
or 8th and the 22nd.
yeah, I'd be happy with 8th and 22nd.
No, you're not gonna have a PE for the night of the 22nd, I can tell you that. Because we have a board retreat after our academy ends.
That's, I just,
So, but I'll send that to you as a special.
yeah, that's what I was just gonna say.
Okay,
Whatever.
so we will meet July 8th and the 22nd for July,
So it'd be the 2nd and 4th.
2nd and 4th Mondays.
Yeah.
Thank you. Other business, we have a budget report, which you should have there. Dave, take it away.
Okay, that's latest budget report in front of you as of the 14th. There is as promised, below these many months, a decision at the end of it, so, general fund, Fund 100, we're at 96% of the year complete, so almost there. General fund looking good. As I mentioned earlier, we're completely, on the budget revenue side, revenue received side, we're right at about 100%, we're good there. We've funded the town foundation there, 250,000. We've made the investment transfer, 250,000. Operational expenses for the town, except for the highways, just the rest of it. We're sitting about 521,000 against a budget of 623, so we're gonna have some left over there. We'll probably come out somewhere like around 535,000, somewhere in there in terms of when all is said and done. So as we move further down in the general fund, Fund 100, I'm sorry, just the regular municipal fund, we'll probably be somewhere about 150,000 in excess revenue. I'll know more exactly towards the end here. So highway fund. The revenue side looks really strong. We're at 100% of the received revenue. So that's good news. Operational expenses, we had budgeted 400,000. We're actually about 469, 470,000, a little bit over. The budget was done when there was only a 2-person road crew. Now we're 3-person. 3-person's all on healthcare. Little
I'm
higher.
actually surprised that's as close as it is.
Well, it's not like we knew that the crew's gonna change.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
so
pretty good then.
we programmed in more revenue than
Yeah.
budget, than its expenses. You know, so the town has approved that approach and
Good job.
came out,
Yeah.
thankfully, knock on plastic. So, so that's, we're fine in terms of budgeted versus actual, we're good on revenue. I still have the paving article, Article 6, and truck Article 8 here in fiscal year 24. And the decision I'm looking for is, shall we go ahead and move that lock, stock, and barrel to fiscal year 25?
Yeah.
You haven't expended any of it.
Haven't got any bills at all.
And if you leave it in fiscal year 24, it just goes away. You don't, you lose the authority. So I would strongly recommend just, motion to move that to 25. Pick up-
Which essentially the thought at town meeting anyway.
Right, but it wasn't in the word.
Right, but thinking new money, you're always thinking forward, but you're right, we were
But you had
a
to
bit
be
lackadaisical.
careful on
wording.
that.
So it's worked out.
Yeah,
So you just want us to motion that in there to,
Yeah, I would, a motion that includes the words Article 6 and Article 8 from town meeting of 2024 to the fiscal year 25.
You got her, you want me to do
go for it.
it? I make a motion to move Article 6, $600,000 funds, and Article 8, $275,000 funds for the paving and truck into fiscal year 2025.
second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Well, make that happen, get you a report, and Matt can email that to you. It's gonna reshape how this looks considerably. I will basically zero balance the highway fund in terms of how much money we put in there as revenue versus the actual expense. But this will happen after July 1st. And then have all the excess revenue show up in the general, fund. All in one place.
Thank you, Dan.
thanks, Dave.
That's-
Mhm,
This
thank
is
you.
this is very good. So much easier for us,
Yep, and if you ever want the details,
right?
any of us in that.
Yeah.
And I can certainly generate that.
And this is.
Easy to follow.
Very,
I have a question for Shannon, I don't, that I, not tonight, but probably maybe the next meeting, I'll just have you guys vote on it. So Vermont has changed, so all of our statute books that I have downstairs that are in my office, they are no longer supplying the updates to those books, which they have always done prior to. How much is that gonna cost? I really don't know, but I can tell you it's gonna be pricey. So every single time they come out with an edition, we have the option to either go ahead and purchase those with the shipping to keep our shelf stocked. Or I did have a gentleman from the Vermont State Archives who came and we sort of went through a couple of different areas in my office in the vault. He said in reality, if you want, we could actually just throw all of those books away. We do not need to have those in our office anymore because one, they're all located online underneath the Vermont statutes. They have them located within libraries and they're located in some other different places without the state. He's like, if you want to keep them, you can, but you're going to be paying for the cost to replace your old versions with newer versions. So you folks will just have to decide, do we want to keep supplementing those for my office so that we have the updated book versions or not? Because right now, if we just keep them, they're all outdated anyhow. And the newest versions will be online.
How often are they touched?
It all depends. It's whenever some new legislation comes out. Like right now, we actually have 2 new books. That's gonna be $700.
But do people actually use the actual books?
Oh, that's you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's just, yeah. They look pretty, they're nice. They have to make an office look like an official office, but if we don't pay to keep them updated, then we're just storing updated books.
so the history has been that the state incurred that cost for all the towns. And now through legislation, they've decided to take that expense.
Yeah.
save that money.
Yeah.
And so the burden of it comes to the town
Correct.
because it's online,
What's that?
because it's online.
Yeah.
So they're just essentially trying to push you to go online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's just food for thought for you guys for next time. I just need to know because there are some months that are gonna be coming up. And whether or not we're gonna be expecting that money that's not in the budget. And then go about that.
I wonder why we didn't see that come out through VLCT. I never saw that.
Yeah, I don't know. It was something that was just sort of like, boom, we just got an email one day that said, hey, we've got these 2 new books, but if you want them, we need to know by this date. It's gonna cost you $700 because the state's not supplying them anymore.
So it was the end of the legislative session and nobody saw it coming.
Yeah,
So maybe we could ask them, because they're gonna have formed an opinion on that, and they're gonna be getting that question from who knows how many municipalities. I wonder if they've got a guiding document or probably something that says what Deb just said, right? Just ask them.
Sure.
They've got something.
It's easy enough to go online, look at these books, these new, so it's,
It's easier.
Yeah.
Much
Yeah.
easier.
than looking at
so
the
there's
book.
really no reason to have the books, other than they look pretty.
and that's just that. I would say probably for the last 8 years that I've been in this office, maybe 1 or 2 people have come in to take a peek at just a couple of things and that's it.
Useless.
Yeah.
Just get that document so that we know that we're not making a decision that
Check.
hurts us somehow in the future.
By getting rid of them,
Deb, you reminded me,
by getting rid of them.
but I forgot. Finance related issue, you may have heard that the state enacted a new childcare tax. And, it's a 0.44% tax, and it takes effect July 1st. And there is a decision in there. The town has the option of putting 0.11% percentage points of the 0.44 against the employee. So the employees would have to pay the 0.11 and the town would pay 0.33. Or the town can just pay the whole 0.4. We're talking about single dollars here, like our highest paid employee is gonna be $2.99 a month. For the whole, so that it's kind of an accounting nightmare to push out some small percentage to the employees. We could do it, Nemrick has changed the software, it's all in place. But but you do have a decision, what I recommend is, at least for the time being, that the town pay the 0.44%, which would be the entire amount, and visit it going forward, or revisit that decision going forward.
So is that unique? Is that unique on how the state would typically do that? I'm new to that.
Yeah, well,
So they
yeah,
created
that topic of childcare tax, yes. And
Okay,
in that method of taxation, I would say yes, because normally it's a personal
right,
income tax levied against
The person.
the person.
Right.
And there's not an option that the town is gonna pick up the share. But it's not unique if you think in terms of government, because the way the federal government does social security and Medicare, they split that and make the employer pay half and the employee.
but
pay
they don't give you the option.
They do not. In fact, give you the option, even though it's voluntary.
So in this case, they've structured it so that there's an option.
So that there's an option. It's like, darn you. And it's an option over pennies, right? It's like. So, but it is an option, so I.
So you recommend that we simply, well, not
Yeah,
simply, but
the town is stuck with the 0.33 percentage points no matter what.
no matter what.
That's the.
And so you're saying we
pick
could
up.
just pick up the other, whatever.
0.11.
And then, check with the LCT a little further down the road and see who's doing what.
Yeah.
And why.
Yeah.
Why is that? Maybe it's important that the employees have a cost share for reasons that I don't see right now, because it's just a totally new thing. But it's, like I say, we're not talking any kind of big bucks. The entire bill for the town for the entire year is likely to be around $1,100.
And that's gonna be the next paycheck.
No.
Yes.
No, the next paycheck is at the end of this month.
So 2 more paychecks, so we
Right.
gotta make a decision.
No, don't remind me, because July 1st is Monday, July 2nd will be a Tuesday. Okay, for July 2nd.
You're right, because that's when the payment actually
So
comes
we have
out.
to make a
But
decision.
the end of the pay period is actually still in June. So, don't.
But I think that we paying it
How should we
in
do
July, though, it's gonna take.
I don't care. You guys.
You're right.
Yeah,
Pay it.
Easier.
So you won't get-
And like Dave said, just find out what.
Unless you pay them
Depends.
Friday.
You know, we have done that.
Actually, 2/28.
So what do you want the motion to sound like?
That the town will cover the new child care tax expense. And revisit at a later date. Yeah, it depends how you want to say.
Yeah,
it.
don't say that.
Back end, but you'll cover the child.
The decision of this board today is that we will go for
I make a motion that the town pays the 0.44% childcare tax out of the payroll. I don't know.
Just
Yeah.
for the town.
Yeah, the town will pay that tax. In
Second,
full.
it. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, sorry for this.
No, thanks for doing it. Cleaned up.
Good thing, I
the
forgot,
angle, but-
good thing you remembered,
Yeah.
I forgot to, David.
One more thing. Oh, that's right. Oh, one more thing.
That's a weird one.
Now,
Never
but
heard of that.
the personnel policy, because you guys have made a little exception as far as covering the whole cost, where it should be stated that it could be either this or that, but the board has opted to do this, or no,
I don't think so on that one.
okay? It's just thinking future wise.
Okay, you got minutes there to approve?
Number 3. Dawn collected data, was it over the past few years? It was over the past few weeks or months or something, wasn't it? It's written as years.
I think you said, didn't you
Did
say
you
2
say
years?
I have no idea. I didn't go back and listen to it.
Oh, you're talking about,
Her-
Kowalski?
Yeah,
Years.
it was years
Oh,
that
it's years.
Yeah,
she's
I
been
thought
keeping
she said
track of
years.
stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Mhm. Everything else looked good to me. It has been going on for a long time.
I think before these squatters have moved in, it was private people.
it was the prior people.
Just from Rumble. Same scenarios.
So, Coventry Fall Festival, that all scared me. Just because of so many moving parts, you're up on that.
Mhm.
Bill downloads to you,
Yep.
or somebody downloads to you, and we're not missing
Nope,
stuff, we're taking care of fireworks,
yep.
contract, everything else is.
Actually,
Somebody on the board, please liaison on that committee. Is there a committee?
there isn't a committee anymore.
I think it's really just Brittany and Bill.
Yeah.
Because can we sort of like mandate this year? Last year I had asked for all vendor information to be given to me by August 1st. Because I did not want to have to come in the day before Coventry Festival to be issuing checks, then I still had to come in the moment before Fall Festival Day to come issue 12 checks because we didn't get the information prior to.
So you need it all,
We should be able to have it all by August 1st. All W-9s, all vendor information.
isn't there some we pay the last day?
What's that?
Isn't there some we pay that day?
They get the checks that day,
They get the checks that
but
day.
she writes them ahead. She likes to actually, blah, she likes to write them ahead of time.
Okay, so there's no. Seems like there used to be people we paid that day.
There you go, we all want to be paid that day.
But we cut each in prior to, and then Brittany or Phil or whoever was on the committee looking onto the check.
Yeah, I think that's just normal business. That's good. So you wanna do that or you want me to?
What?
Tell them that that has to be done. I'll help her out.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
She doesn't want them sprinkling in all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
So be sure.
I tell them that every year, it doesn't seem to be good.
Maybe they just need to know that if it's not here, then they're not gonna get paid until after the fact, and they won't end up getting that vendor the next year, you know, the next, I mean, if it's the vendor dragging their feet, then I guess they just don't.
We will do everything we can. Yeah. All right. Fine. We're good with all of it, I guess.
Yeah, I'm good.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of Monday, June 3rd, 2024 meeting as written, as presented.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, there's some words there.
Well, I'll do some outreach on that. Yeah. She's adjusting our system.
Oh, sorry.
We're gonna.
Watch her, you
Yeah, let's see, that one.
know, New kids screwing everything up.
What, now what? You can't see anything, can you? Yeah.
Take a picture like that and make it bigger.
What's the $10 for the deed? Why'd you have to pay $10 for the deed?
Because I wasn't here and Mr. Marvin wanted to use for the Osprey property, for our property.
So it's not here?
It is, but I was not here, so access into the town hall was not available.
Oh.
Mr. Marvin wanted it now, he got it now, by utilizing our online land records program.
Gotcha.
Which is bizarre.
So,
Paid it in.
To get that one reimbursed.
this is the meter project back.
Correct.
This is like a ping pong ball. It's like-
And you wanted a voice, you got a voice,
Okay, so we've adjusted the amount.
but that amount right there. The other invoice is really good. So these are two things that have been paid out. One is an invoice for TI sales, and the other one is.
Done. That one's completely done. Those are you and I have done.
In total?
Got it.
In total. So. So the town already sent some amount of money last summer.
For invoices that we had paid. So any invoices that we paid, then we just send them to you guys.
So back last summer, it was done this way.
Yeah.
So what's the reason we weren't doing it this way 3 weeks ago?
Because I think VLCT had communicated with,
I was the reason. Yeah.
Oh,
Following the deal.
that I didn't expect.
No, yeah, you're right. Fire district, I'm
Exactly. Okay,
chase it away. VLCT, they have an auditor who does nothing but, ARPA funds, basically.
Yeah.
So lengthy telephone conversation with her about all the various aspects of what we're doing.
Yeah.
All was good except for, we still have this, whatever the amount is, 18,000 something or other,
Yeah,
that we've not expended.
yeah, sitting there,
It's committed,
yeah,
it's obligated, I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
they're obligated, but it's not expended.
okay,
And her advice was, oh, well, you should just pay it out and it's off your books. I said, okay, I hear you, but let's see what happens.
gotcha. Okay, yeah, we're not doing that. We're doing this. Okay, so these are real bills you guys have paid and
Would you put
we're,
a copy of the check of the TI sales on the back of our check? That's.
Okay.
Not through positive, and the other one is the online payment to Pedro that you have.
yeah. All right, that I can solve. And the last summer's expenses were done this way.
Yes.
Okay, so we have slips for whatever the town,
Slips and copies of the paychecks.
thank you very much. It's just better business. I would think. Try to get that by with no glasses, didn't they? I don't know.
Go daddy.
Oh,
Card services, $10 charge for
yeah.
and postage.
This is
Should be happy.
nothing crazy on this big one.
Hmm.
It was tiny. Well, that's what I wanted to talk about. Tax sale expenses.
Oh my gosh.
Do you see that?
That was big.
Is that great?
That's not all of them. We've already paid it out.
That all goes back.
Almost 15 grand.
Does all of that go back to the homeowners?
No, this is like the fees.
That's nothing. That's just our expense to
Our
the
expense.
attorney.
Mhm.
Most of them. Because if it goes to tax sale, then we can remove that.
But
Typically, the attorney fees, that's an expense, but if it doesn't,
So I think, do we have to kind of figure that out, or is this just sort of the norm? I really don't know. So we just spent $15,000 to collect how much?
one with that.
nowhere near that much.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't know.
but I don't have that, I could do that analysis, I just don't have it in front of me.
But
It is very typical that
really,
we can recover roughly a third, on average, a third of the legal expense of a tax. Roughly 2/3. Statutes don't permit us to recapture.
so if you're dealing with high value properties, your time for your attorneys is gonna be the same. But in our case, we dealt with, I don't know how many, half a dozen properties that were low value properties.
Yeah.
And so the taxes due outstanding were way less than what we spent on the attorneys to get it.
Sure.
But I will think there is something in legislation that's going on in regards to tax sales, which I would imagine Kate should be keeping you guys abreast on. That's changing some of those denominations and how soon we can actually put a property up for tax sale.
Oh, yeah.
There's coming down with new legislation in regards to taxable properties.
So if you think it's bad now, wait,
So this is just normal.
I would say you don't normally put up unlanded mobile homes. That was a weird one. I don't know why that was done, but it's not, it's certainly not my call.
Was that the only one we had? Was that the only other?
There was
There were two, there was a landed, I guess it's not a mobile home, I'm not sure, something on Spencer Hill.
Okay.
I don't think we've ever spent 15,000 before in the past on this.
But you can't not, because then nobody's gonna pay their taxes.
Well, so the legal fees are a tough one. Some of that is probably, fees for serving.
Oh, this
Papers.
is, the
Which is
reimbursement
rather
for
It's just the process of,
processing
memberships?
fee. Those we can recover.
So they paid their gym memberships and we give back 25%.
So
I would think typically it's gonna
So
be
somebody went to Bright.
properties of that value.
typically,
Alright, so. If the year started over again right now, would we just do that again as a norm, or would we have a conversation around, do we even, should we go for 2 years? Should we let that property sit for 2 years? To have the same expense?
I would say that's.
I don't know the answer.
You should have an input tax collector in regards to new legislation that's coming up that's dictating how soon you can put delinquent properties up for tax.
You mean sooner than a year?
no,
Not sooner than a year. It
No.
sounds like it's gonna be longer.
Oh,
than a
longer.
year.
and other changes that make it much less favorable to the municipality and much more favorable to the taxpayer.
There's a lot of changes going around right there.
But I personally
A Vermont thing.
would, yeah.
Probably.
I would,
Personally would never put.
that makes perfect sense.
So, okay, so is this all still sort of new to Coventry? I mean, have we been doing it for the last few years, tax sales? Okay. Everybody's rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
Electronic.
I mean,
federal
It's
taxes
one reason
and
why
not
we get
state
zero allowance on
taxes.
like the tax too, is one of the reasons, it's not the entire reason.
That one it just struck me when I looked at it, it's like, well, that's not a good investment.
Put it that one, because that's why I went back to see what we've already changed so far this year. And it was like, wow.
Okay.
That's another.
You got
But it's,
Yep.
it's some other
Oh.
charges of like survey or something.
I got
Which was like
confused,
$600 for quite a few, and I'm like, what were those charges?
yeah, when I got glasses, I'll read that, find it, educate, because I didn't understand a lot of it.
They need to go back to the lawyer and make sure they're putting the right pen. They're really, I find they're pretty good at having lots of bins. Monahan can produce reports like I wish I could produce out of Nemrick. But the problem with having a lot of bins is sometimes you put stuff in the wrong bin, so. Worth the review,
Okay,
but I don't think we've been doing much legal work elsewhere.
not real,
The other ones were.
Yeah, because that's one of the major budget,
some
under
telephones,
budget items for fiscal year 24 was just regular legal work. It's way over, but.
Yeah.
Which is good.
okay,
Motion to accept the warrants as presented.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Maybe once this
Good.
new legislation is out, maybe Kate could come and explain stuff to us.
Yeah, I think maybe she's almost good now, when is that effective, Now? or July?
Trying to think if that one is July 1st or not, because that one.
They're doing a-
Right, and
They're doing a special legislation session this week. So it's-
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
yeah, most stuff doesn't take effect until the.